Temecula Property Management. First, you have to take a hard look at your property. You got to make sure it is habitable. The law requires all property to satisfy the warranty of habitability. All right, your HVAC's got to work properly, right? The heating and cooling. The flooring has to be in decent shape. You can't have a bunch of holes in the carpet. The plumbing needs to work properly, right? You can't have leaks in the wall. You can't have windows that will not shut or open. There are other issues to address. The roof, of course, has to keep the water out, right? You can't have rats running around in the roof or in the attic. So you've taken a hard look at your property, you've completed deferred maintenance, you've hired the correct contractors to help you with that, or you've done it yourself. Now it's ready to get on the market. So what do you need to do? Well, you want to take some extensive photo media. Take some good photos. Don't take some, 2 or 3 photos of the outside and expect people to come knocking on your door to rent it. You want a really impressive display. So look at the house. If you have a bunch of stuff up on the walls, take it down. If you have clutter, get rid of the clutter. The house you rent is not the house you live in. So you want to make sure it looks appealing to the greatest number of people, right? We take virtual tours for our properties here at CAGCC Properties. That's something to consider. I think it's a good way to set your property apart. Okay, so you get your photo media, then you're going to come up with your ad copy. How are you going to write this thing? Believe it or not, there are laws in place that dictate what you cannot say in your ad copy. So have your ad copy screened before you go live with it. Then you need to figure out where you're going to advertise. You're going to put it on Craigslist, you're going to put it on Facebook. Where are you going to advertise this home for rent? We, of course, here at CAGCC Properties, we put it on the multiple listing service. We have access to a number of excellent websites to include Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, MilitaryByOwner.com, because we're military friendly. We go for the military market here in near Camp Pendleton. You want to make sure you get it broadcast out to the greatest number of potential tenants, right? Once it's out on the market, you're going to start getting folks that want to see the place, of course. But you're also going to get looky-loos who are just going to drive by, get out of the car, and peek around, right? So just be aware of that. Make sure you have your insurance in place, and you're not shocked when somebody is pushy and knocks on the door, says they want to see the place, right? Then you're going to want to screen your applicants. So you want to have a good application that you're using. You want a very thorough application. We, of course, use a platform that has a thorough background check. We screen credit, but not just credit. We screen for criminal conviction, we screen for evictions, then we, of course, verify employment. We want to see at least 2 months pay stubs along with money in the bank, right? Money in the bank for what? Well, for the security deposit and the first month's rent. If they don't have, it's a $3,000 a month property and they don't have $6,000 in the bank, they're probably not going to qualify to rent the house. You got to be careful about how you screen them. There are over 24 protected classes in the state of California. What does that mean? Well, you cannot discriminate on the basis of race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, religious affiliation, family status, right? So asking, do you have children that are going to live in the house? Even, believe it or not, animals. Some animals you cannot discriminate against if they are truly service animals. So now you've reached the decision, you've decided to rent to the first applicant that meets your financial qualifications. Then you have to negotiate the lease terms with them. Well, there's leases you can find on the internet. I'm sure there are dozens of them. Make sure whatever you decide to use has been vetted by attorneys. We, of course, use the California Association of Realtor vetted leases and disclosures here at CAGCC Properties. They're reviewed every 6 months by a panel of California Association of Realtor attorneys, and they're updated to comply with all the changes in the law. The law is always changing, it seems like. Change is the one constant. Then you do a detailed move-in inspection with your tenant. Why do you do that? Well, you want to document the condition at move-in. Some video or some photos. Have the tenant sign the move-in form to verify that they are receiving a clean, move-in ready property. We have a very detailed move-in checklist that we use here at CAGCC Properties that we've modified over the years, and we make very clear that the tenants understand when they move in That's how the property needs to be returned at move out, less what is known as normal wear and tear. That's a legal term. It's a little bit of a subjective term, but a little bit of smudge on the wall, that's normal wear and tear. An 8-inch hole in the wall is not normal wear and tear. That's kind of an example for you. Dog urine all over the house is not normal wear and tear. First, you're going to make sure you protect that security deposit. That is the tenant's money that you are holding. It's not your money. That security deposit needs to be safeguarded for when the tenant moves out, assuming the tenant is completed all the requirements of the lease, they've paid their rent on time, there's no late fees, and they return the place to you in proper condition, they are entitled to their full security deposit back. That, unfortunately, does not always happen, and you need to be prepared for dealing with the tenant who maybe has not cleaned the place or has damaged the house. You have to get it repaired within 21 days and return. You can use the tenant security deposit for that, but you have to return to the tenant the remaining deposit along with an itemized list and the invoices that you spent getting the house ready again. Realtors, professionals have errors and omissions policy. Realtors, CPAs, attorneys, doctors, folks in the professions have E&O insurance. It's like malpractice insurance. So that's not something you need to concern yourself with. What you would want to make sure, though, is you convert your homeowner policy to a landlord policy. In the event there is damage to the house and it sits vacant for several months, the landlord policy will pay you the lost rent and should cover most of the damages in excess of normal wear and tear. Most cases, most tenants do the right thing. They pay the rent on time, they don't damage the house. Over the 18 years we've been in this business, we've seen a lot of issues and we've handled them. All of us are rental owners ourselves. My wife and I personally own real estate, rental properties. Our two property managers, Christina and Susan, personally own rental properties. Know where the landmines are, and we help you avoid them. So if you're going to take this on, feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to give you some of my time, benefit of my advice. Providing quality place to live is a wonderful way to help the society, help the community. It's also a way to make some money. Right. I think what I've done here is I've given you the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot below the surface of the water. There are legal issues, there are legal disclosures, there are occasions when you'll need to get an attorney involved. Those occasions should be few and far between. Temecula Property Management.